They are two of the greatest cities in America, the leaders and trendsetters in commerce and culture. Yet both New York and Chicago have weathered decades of football mediocrity. But that changed in Chicago when George Halas picked his toughest disciple, Mike Ditka, to rebuild the Bears. A vicious defense suddenly became invincible. And with a charismatic quarterback combining with the best runner around, the Bears once again are the monsters of the Midway. Bill Parcells has restored joy to the land of the Giants, rekindling their tradition of defense, molding a young running back into an NFL star, and helping a star quarterback mature into a winner. Now for the Giants and the Bears alike, years of frustration can be laid to rest with a victory in the biggest game of their lives. And you are looking live at where that game will be played. Soldier Field in Chicago. It's a showdown between the Big Apple and the city of broad shoulders. It's New York against Chicago, and it's
Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. The full line of 1986 Volkswagens. And by True Value Hardware Stores. The more you've got to do, the more you need True Value. We've got what it takes. And now, here's Brent Musburger.
It has been 22 long, often frustrating football seasons since the city of Chicago hosted a National Football League playoff game. They're going to play this one in Soldier Field. That one 22 years ago was up the lakefront, Wrigley Field. It was the same two teams, the Bears and the Giants. The Bears prevailed that day, 14-10. It was a tough defensive struggle all the way. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. You know, if Ernie Banks was seated right alongside me right now in Chicago, he would say, it's a great day, let's play two. And that's how you got to feel about this game and the Chicago fans. If they can win, they will host the championship game next Sunday. And as you can see, it'll be nasty weather conditions here for this one on the lakefront in Chicago. The players, well, there are no domes here in Chicago. It's like the old Purple People Eaters up in Minnesota. And the wind will be coming off that lakefront. It can gust, it can swirl, it can create a nightmare if you're a field goal kicker. But Chicago wouldn't have it any other way. The wind chill right now, minus 13 degrees. The wind out of the west at 20 miles an hour. The forecast cold and clear. In other words, it's a beautiful day for a football game in Chicago. And when the gates opened this morning, Bear fans were ready for not only the game, but also the elements that they would face inside Soldier Field.
I'm an ice fisherman. This doesn't bother me at all.
I have every intention of staying until the very end.
Now, the Bears prepared for their frigid conditions based on experiences from a game against Green Bay back in December of 1983. The thermometer read 0 that day with a wind chill factor of 36 below.
We had about 100 people come into our first aid stations, but out of those 100, only one was a clear-cut case of frostbite. But it showed that people were aware and listening and taking care of themselves.
As a reminder, the stadium scoreboard and PA system will continue to warn fans about the dangers of exposure to the cold. In addition, TV monitors have been installed underneath the stands so fans can take shelter from the freezing winds that come in off the lake.
As long as the Bears win, I've waited 22 years for this, so I'll be here until they win, and they will win today.
So that's how the fans are going to face up to the cold, but how about the players like the Chicago Bears, who right behind me are headed inside their locker room? Well, to get an insight into their conditions, let's go to Irv Cross. Irv?
Brent, I have the best seat in the house. I'm sitting on the Bears bench right now, and it's called the hot seat. Now, you take a look at these slots under the seat here. The players can put their feet in here where it's about 200 degrees. They'll be sitting on a surface that's about 110 degrees, and the backrest is about 150 degrees. Now, league rules demand that both teams have exactly the same kind of equipment on the sideline, so the Giants will have these same benches on their sideline. So the players will be nice and warm as long as they're sitting on the hot seat. As far as the field itself is concerned, it too is in great shape. It was covered by a tarpaulin since Thursday, where they had heaters blowing under the tarpaulins to keep the field dry and soft. It's dry and soft now. It'll be maintained that way throughout the entire day. So the running game for both of these clubs will be quite effective. The only problem I can feel and sense down here now is a swirling wind in the stadium, so it'll be pretty tough to throw the football. But other than that, it's a great day for football, and it's bear weather. Brent?
All right, Irvin, it'll be tough for Schubert and Butler to kick it, too, in conditions like that. Now, the focal point is always on the two quarterbacks, Phil Simms and Jim McMahon. And to get more on them, let's go upstairs now to Pat Summerall and John Madden. Pat?
Thank you, Brent. You know, last night when John and I went to the hotel where the Giants were staying, we were supposed to talk to quarterback Phil Simms, but the word was that he was in bed with the flu. I know that John was down on the field a little bit earlier talking to him, so bring us up to date, if you will, on this condition.
Well, he said he got sick on Friday night, had the flu Friday night, didn't feel well yesterday, although he did practice in New York. He said when the team got to Chicago, he just went to bed, and then he said he woke up and felt a lot better today. He said the biggest thing, he was down in the field, and we were talking, he said the biggest thing that helped is that 12-degree weather. He said that cleaned out anything that was in there.
That'll work on you a little while. Both the quarterbacks will be wearing gloves. You possibly saw Phil Simms and the gloves that he'll be wearing. Their quarterback, Jim McMahon, will be wearing them as well. What effect do you think that's going to have on their passing?
Well, it has to affect their passing because it's not the same type of thing. Now, what happened is Mike Ditka told his players, if you're going to wear anything different, you have to practice in it all week. So what happened is Jim McMahon practiced with gloves all week, and he said he threw more spirals with the gloves than he ever did without the glove. Now, Phil Simms really didn't get a chance to practice with the gloves. In fact, that's why he was out there early, about 9 o'clock this morning, trying out the gloves to see how he would pass.
They look very much like golf gloves. They're a little bit heavier, but they're very soft, and it should furnish some warmth. Speaking of warmth, about the cold before the game, John Madden was down on the field talking with Harry Carson, who doesn't seem to be bothering him, but you look like you were well equipped.
Who is that masked man? I was getting the word there. Harry Carson was telling me it's all just a state of mind. He said the only one that's going to be cold at this place are the fans. He says we aren't.
John's ready. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. Now, the gloves, Phil Simms said he was not too comfortable with the one that he was throwing with. This is a glove that will be worn by the receivers and the running back, so everybody seems very well equipped. They were not so well equipped 22 years ago up in Wrigley Field. The last time it was the Bears and the Giants, and no one remembers that game any better than the athletes who survived it.
I'll tell you this, the most physical game ever played in a World Championship game, Super Bowl or any of them, was a matchup between the 63 Bears and the 63 Giants.
Tittle back to throw. He tosses in the end zone, touchdown to Gifford.
I think he ran a zig-out pattern. He could run a good zig-out pattern. And he was open, I think, in the end zone for a touchdown. Anyway, that's the only good memory I have of the whole game.
Del Shofner miscatching a Tittle pass, and that would be the key play.
I don't think one play actually wins a ball game, but I'm not so sure one play didn't lose this one, but there's nothing I can do about that now.
Y.A. looks. Here's a screen toss. Intercepted by Larry Morris.
The first 30 yards, I was scared somebody was going to catch me. The last 30, I was scared they wouldn't. But somebody put a pin on my back, and I made it to about the 2-yard line, and then Bill Wade sneaked it in.
I was fortunate enough to score both touchdowns, but only after good defensive work. I have to admit that. You know, the defense always tried to belittle the offense, but that year we had fewer turnovers than any other team in the league.
I remember hurting my knee, obviously, and I remember throwing 5 interceptions, and I was hoping somebody would burn those films.
The rush is on. He gets the pass is intercepted by O'Branovich.
I didn't run out of gas. It was Larry Morris that ran out of gas. I got caught from behind. As a matter of fact, by Jack Stroud, who I believe at the time was the slowest man in the league, and he caught me from behind, so guess what?
Tittle back to throw. This could be the last play of the game. Long pass. Pettibone. Pettibone caught it in the end zone. It is intercepted by the Bears.
Well, Jimmy, that's how I remembered it when I covered it for the old Chicago American, but refresh my memory. How many points you favored the Giants by that day?
No, the Bears were favored by 3, and I lost.
We will continue live from Soldier Field in Chicago in just a moment. right, Dan Deardorff for CBS Sports. Sorry you couldn't be with me in Southern California yesterday.
The amazing thing is, Brent, I wanted to be here. From a player's standpoint, a perfect day. Bring the aspirin and an extra chin strap. You'll need them both before it's over.
Yeah, look who's with us, too. The great Hall of Fame middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears, who now works on their radio coverage. Dick Butkus, great day for a football game.
It's a great day, Brent, as long as you're either playing or at your home watching this, or up in a warm booth, I'll tell you.
Dan, you spent part of last week at the Meadowlands talking to the New York Giants.
Yeah, I sure did, Brent. And if you remember last week, the Giants beat the 49ers. But a year ago, it was the San Francisco 49ers that ousted the Giants. Sims was on his back all day long. Joe Morris only had 47 yards on the day. What a difference a year makes. And if there's a difference between the 84 and 85 Giants, it's clearly their offensive line. To the Giants' offensive line, the challenge of facing a great defense such as the Bears is nothing new.
The same was the situation last week when we met San Francisco, and they were giving up less than 100 yards a game, and the better team won that game. So we're going to go out there, give it our best shot.
Bart Oates has been the difference in the Giants line this year. A USFL refugee, Oates has brought the maturity of a veteran to go with his talent at center.
That's a tough job because you got to do, center is the only position on the line where you got to do two things. I mean, the guards and tackles, we just got to block. He has to snap the ball and then block.
Last week, the Giants' offensive line gave Phil Simms plenty of time to set up and see his receivers. He'll need that time and more this week.
Got to have a shutout today. Let's shut them out. And that's what you shoot for every week. You shoot for no sacks. And once in a while they're going to happen, and when they do, you can't let them get you down. You have to just shrug it off and come back.
The Giants line has also helped make Joe Morris one of the premier runners in the league. But who says backs don't give their linemen the time of day? This week, Morris surprised his linemen with a gift.
It gave us a nice watch today. We haven't had it appraised yet, but it looks like
Brent, talk about a group looking for some notoriety. It's been 17 years since the Giants sent an offensive lineman to a Pro Bowl. A guess?
Who was the last one to make it?
Greg Larson, clear back in 1968. It's been that long.
Dick, now what about this Bear defense that the Giants are going up against?
Well, I think it's important that Richard Dent has a good game, Mike Singletary, and Gary Fensick of all people, because he led the Bears in tackles. Now, Dent likes to rush from the outside, which means that Joe Morris might have an inside tracker running off tackle, and it's imperative that Mike Singletary makes the tackles inside tackle to tackle. Now, it's interesting that Fensick also led the team in tackles from his safety position, and because of the 46 lineup that the Bears use, he's involved in a lot of tackles. Now, if Morris breaks through the line and Singletary doesn't make the tackle, Fensick better be there to make the tackle.
Dick, did anybody stop the 46 this year?
Not really. They might say that the Dolphins picked it apart a little bit, but after checking the films, Buddy Ryan thought there was a lot of mistakes made by the Bears. So the Bears really beat themselves Monday night. No one has come close to beating the Bear defense.
Who are you picking this afternoon?
Oh, definitely the Bears, without a doubt.
Oh, I'm surprised.
That might be a little biased, but I think they're going to do it.
All right. Listen, thank you. I know you got to get upstairs to the radio broadcast on WGN. Have a good day.
Good. Appreciate it.
We're going to continue live from Soldier Field in just a moment. Soldier Field starting to fill up. We're closing in on the Giants and the Bears. You know, the Bear players have been extremely confident about this game. In fact, some of the Giants have accused them of being arrogant. But what about Bear fans? Well, to get that side of the story, here's Irv. Irv?
Brent, Bear fans are cocky and confident too, and Larry Laris to our left here has been a Bear season ticket holder for 31 years. Of course, you've seen a lot of great football here, I guess.
Oh, yes, I have, Irv. Tremendous amount of football.
And this has been an exciting year for them. You know, and all season long, Bear fans have been caught up in the excitement of Bear Mania, especially when winning the NFC Division looked more and more like a sure thing. But now that everything's on the line again, well, Chicagoans are starting to feel just a bit uneasy. They've been on that road before.
Welcome to Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, home of America's best football team, the Chicago Bears.
This is Chicago. And no, this is not the season to just be merry. For these are the playoffs, and they don't call Chicago the second city for nothing.
I think this kind of gathering sense of inferiority, as it's expressed through being a sports fan, takes the form right now in Chicago of, oh my God, what will happen if the team doesn't even get to the Super Bowl?
What it would be like, it would be a tragedy to this town. It would be exactly like when the Cubs lost. It's a heartbreaker. You can't live with it.
missiles in Cuba. I think that was the kind of depression that I might feel, you know. But the death of Kennedy.
1963, Chicago's last true championship. Since then, a litany of failure and frustration. The 69 and 84 Cubs, the Blackhawks in 71 and 73, the White Sox in 83. DePaul and Ray Meyer, pick a year. And please don't pick on Ernie Banks anymore.
And it is a tough blow to take when you get so close to something and not make it. And I know all the fans around Chicago and the state of Illinois are really looking forward to seeing the Bears in the Super Bowl and win that Super Bowl so that we can have something to cheer about.
Everyone around here was a little more cheerful a month ago. They weren't just lining up to meet the fridge. Their aim was to book Super Bowl passage to New Orleans.
It was frantic. Phones were ringing off the wall, but it has quieted down. It quieted down after Miami.
Miami, Dan Marino, the Bears' Waterloo. Maybe the gods are crazy.
We're not here to cause any trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl shovel.
I thought it was pretentious, putting the cart before the horse, and the other guys, it's their prerogative. I just didn't want to, be involved with it. And, it's I guess everyone thinks it's great, but, we just better win, that's all.
Chicago, city of big shoulders, city of big cynics.
I think they're going to botch it. They're overconfident this year.
If they lose, then we'll all blame it on the shuffle and all the hype.
For now, Bear fans are still wearing their hearts on their sleeve, and just about everywhere else.
80-20. Need a hat to go with that? $14.95.
Yeah, I need a hat. Since November 15th, I have sold 3,400 hats. Hottest selling hat in America.
Well, who knows? Maybe this really will be Chicago's year.
Well, that Bears-Raiders score is only wishful thinking with Chicago fans, but everybody up here believes the Bears are going to be in the Super Bowl. Here's Gary from New Jersey, who's obviously a Giant fan. Aren't you a little bit uneasy about being in the stand here?
No, not scared at all. I got a few fans here with me.
All right, Gary. All right, Brent.
All right. Well, one man who doesn't believe that the Bears are going to win is number 11 of the New York Giants, quarterback Phil Simms. Jimmy the Greek, yesterday, you liked the Rams. They came through out there in Anaheim. How about the Bears and the Giants today?
I'll tell you one thing, Brent. This is the top two defenses in the league. They're 1-2. Physically, they match up great. They're tough, they're rough, and I'll tell you, they're going to be after each other. The Bears will be concerned about tackling Morris and be sure to bring him down. The Giants, on the other hand, are going to be concerned about their offensive line. But let's not forget that the Bears are at home. They're on AstroTurf, and they do very well here, and the kicking game is better. I have to go along with the Bears by just a little bit, though.
All right, and we'll continue live from Soldier Field in Chicago in just a moment. So the captains go out to the middle of the field. They'll flip the coin. Dan Deerdorf, do you agree with the Greek? Will this be the Bears?
I have to go with it. Joe Morris would have to go over 100 against the 46 wins. I don't think he can do it. I go Bears 20-13.
All right, and how about you, Irv Cross? Do you agree with Dan and Jim?
Well, I like the Giants' chances for an upset, but you have to go with Chicago, Brent. They've had a lot of time off. I'm going with Chicago 13-10.
I'll tell you what, I'll go with the Giants in the upset.
No! 23 years he's been waiting for this. Don't you dare! That's all. That's all. I quit.
Well, you're going to hear Soldier Field explode. Jimmy, the Bears are being introduced right now. Here they come. These fans have waited so long and very patiently for this moment. And now their team is only a couple of wins away from going to its first Super Bowl.
And so have you been waiting for it. I'm sorry.
Jackson State.
So the scene is set in Chicago. It's the Bears and the Giants. Sit back and enjoy, everybody. It should be a great game. Pat Summerall and John Madden are coming up next.